What's going on there, folks? Good morning, good afternoon. It's the Earthmaster here on this Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. It's about 11 o'clock. Perfect timing there for the alarm to go off. 11 o'clock in the a.m. And looking at the latest earthquake activity, shows a 1.7 into the region of Alaska. We did see some activity into the Izu Trench as well with the 5.1. Let's go ahead and check out the latest activity here across the map. 5.1 coming in within the last hour. We did see, remember that deeper movement quake here into the area of the Philippine plate. Let me see if I can bring that up here real quick. Pretty recent. Oh, where'd it go? It's a good question. Maybe it was this one right here. I thought we had a deeper movement quake out here. Maybe it was down south. Let me see. There's our deeper movement quake. It was a 4.5 yesterday, 336 kilometers deep. The adjustment upstream, though, is a little bit far from that deeper movement quake. Sometimes we'll see the deeper activity down into the subduction zone with a triggering of shallower earthquake activity. But this one's way up there along the Izu Trench, so I'm not 100% certain that's related, but potentially could be in relation to the deeper movement activity a few days ago. This yellow circle was fairly deep, 449 kilometers deep for that 4.2. Took a couple days here, but seen a little bit of adjustment along the Mariana Trench, well, at least the Izu Trench here, this segment today. All right, see what else we have here across the area. Off the coast of Japan and the Taiwan area, a couple fours coming in yesterday and today, and some movement across the Indonesia area, it looks like as well. The latest activity within this region looks like a 5.0 in the Banda Sea area. Prior to that, older movement there from yesterday. There has been definitely a broad scale movement of some smaller quakes across this entire region. Again, USGS is only going to show 4.0 and above, just for reference there. But as you can see, through the Philippines and all over the Indonesia area, seeing quite a few 2s and 3s spreading out fairly nicely in this region. That could be pointing towards something much bigger in some of these quiet zones that we've been waiting for some activity. A couple different zones to watch here, the Mariana Trench, and still firmly believe around the Java Trench northward up through the Andaman Sea and portions of the Myanmar area. Could be looking at some larger movement here soon. Our major watch zone, far as the one where we're should be seeing some large-scale activity, is the Kuril Kamchatka Trench. That subduction zone has not shown any activity as far as large-scale movement goes in quite some time. They continuously see some deeper activity into the region. For example, this one from yesterday, a 4.6, 268 kilometers deep, with no adjustment upstream where the pressure and the tension tends to wind up, so to speak, like a spring. The Alaska region did see some activity there late last night, a 5.4 in the Old Harbor, Alaska area. 9.2 kilometers deep, fairly shallow earthquake. Haven't really seen any further movement around this specific area overnight. Just general typical movement up into the Cook Inlet area, stretching up towards the Denali region. Got a little bit of activity kicking up here into the what's this fault system here? Just shy of the plate boundary of the Pacific and the North American plate boundary here. All right, to West Coast activity. Man, last night it was super duper quiet to date. Looks about the same. We only got one earthquake into the Pacific Northwest, a 1.0. The rest of California down here, a little spotty in terms of earthquake movement here in Northern Cal and Central California. A little spotty activity across the Bay region today as well. Nothing major. Looks like the largest was a 2.6 down here along the southern end of the Calaveras Fault Zone near the Ridgemark area. A little bit of activity up here north of the bay too, with a 2.0 coming in just about 7 o'clock this morning. Most of the activity, I would say, has been cluttered down here along our typical fault systems here. Nothing on the southern branch of the San Andreas Fault. A little, maybe it looks like maybe one right here. 1.1, nothing major though. No swarms. Most of the activity, the brunt of the activity, confined here to the San Jacinto Fault Zone and a segment of the Elsinore Fault here. A couple different segments there that run through Southern California. I don't believe we've seen anything above 2.5 here. All microquake activity overnight and today so far. A little bit of further movement out into Texas and the Oklahoma area. A couple of the oil fields out there look like they're getting hit with some smaller quakes. Although we did have a 3.1 outside of the Pecos, Texas area just before midnight. Down into the Puerto Rico area, things returning to normal, and I say that just because the activity has been confined here to the swarming area that we normally see around the Puerto Rico area. Looks like that's about the same here this morning so far in this early afternoon. Let's see what else we have. South America region. This activity here from yesterday. Not really seen anything new pop up. Let me see what we got here for the globe. And maybe a couple of smaller quakes there into the right around the Chile area in Argentina. A couple smaller quakes kicking up. The rest of the Pacific, relatively quiet until now, until I spoke that 4.6 into existence there. Looks like that's occurring around the, oh man, right over here, the Pacific Plate. And on this case, it would be close to the Pacific, the Nazca Plate and the Cocos Plate here. You got a couple different plate boundaries right here along this fracture zone. We did see some further movement here east. Along the Cocos Plate and the Nazca Plate here yesterday. But kind of looks like there's one coming in right now as we speak, a 4.6 within that area. All right, 4.7 coming into the China area. Oh, that's not even showing up here. Let's see what we got here on this map. 4.7 coming in. Well, this was about 9 o'clock this morning, a couple hours ago, so it should have been showing up here on the USGS map. But China, looks like 4.7, 10 kilometers deep. Although this has not been reviewed by a seismologist. Around the India area looks pretty quiet for now. Iran did see some activity further around this plate boundary here south with a 5.3 coming in last night. And I've been kind of watching that migration there across the area of Turkey and regions down into Iran. This whole area has become relatively unstable along this plate boundary with migration of earthquake activity stretching across portions of Turkey and adjacent areas. Let me show you guys the last 30 days of movement. We've noticed a noticeable increase in activity stretching away from the large 7-pointers that occurred there a week or so ago in Turkey. Migration here to the southwest and also to the northeast. So we still got to watch a couple certain areas. We've been getting little hints of movement away from the plate boundary. There, for example, in northern Iran, and also down here with that 5.3 that we seen last night. So still got to watch these areas potentially here for some further migration. We'll see where this heads to in the coming days. Iceland, what do we got going on up here? 5.1 coming in just after midnight. Of course, this is a area that does see a lot of volcanic activity. This one occurring about 10 kilometers deep into the Iceland area. It looks like there was a 2.8 as well, a little bit further down south along the plate boundary. following that 5.1 from last night. All right, let's see what else we got here going on. New Zealand, what's going on? Forgot about you guys because it's so quiet down here. Let's take a look and see. This is our quiet spot today. Got to remember, a lot of the larger scale well, I can't say larger scale, but deeper activity has been confined up here into the Fiji and the south of the Fiji and the Tonga Trench region here over the past couple days. And that adjustment, that westward pressure movement, seems to have been hitting or have hit this area up around the Philippines, Indonesia area today, as noted here on the Earthquake 3D globe. Notice the massive movement here, cluttered up into that area with very minimal movement back here into the deeper regions of the trenches. So that tells me right there that there's not quite enough strain yet for some further large-scale activity upstream. And, of course, that westward pressure movement hits these areas. Let's see what we got for New Zealand. GeoNet server, stand by for just a second while I bring that up. And it looks like very minimal activity. 2.4, 184 kilometers deep a couple hours ago. Some other smaller microquakes across North and South Island, New Zealand. But overall, definitely seismic activity looks to be on the very extreme minimal side today across New Zealand and the Kermadec Trench areas. All right, space weather activity is, well, it kind of ramped up last night with KP index up around the 4 range. The BZ component of the interplanetary magnetic field, which is carried past Earth via the solar wind, was pointing south, and that allowed some geomagnetic conditions to erupt into the higher latitudes with auroras up there. Nothing major. I mean, we didn't see any significant wind speed for solar wind speed pickup. Looks like it was up around the 400 range or so, 450. But when we do get that tilt there in the BT component, that will allow some solar wind stream to flow in and enhance the activity far as the auroras go. Not looking at any major expected storming over the next couple days. It looks like just unsettled conditions. And the flare threat probability, well, let's see what we got here. Looks like we did see an M flare overnight. Upper M flare and M9. Looks like an M9 pointer up here. A bit of C flare activity as well. A 4, excuse me. M4.77. I don't know where I got a 9 from. Goodness. But yeah, a little bit of activity kicking up here. And it looks as though both of those sunspot or the solar flares are coming from 3234, which is over here on the far side of the sun, although it is starting to rotate better into Earth view now. It still has a lot of complex magnetic structure within it. Notice the different areas of the colors here on this map. Shows a different magnetic structure, and it still might be one to watch. Our culprit in the X flare here last week looks like it's holding in there, although with some weakening, obvious signs of weakening amongst the structure. Still does harbor some potential for some M flare activity. Also got to watch this sunspot down here, looking a little bit more dynamic today than over the past couple days. So we got 3 sunspots here. We'll keep an eye on for some solar flare activity here soon. Overall threat of the flare level looks like 99% chance for C flare, M flare at 50, and X flare around 15%. That may be a little bit overblown, but that's what they have here on the map. UV filter rays showing that sunspot here, the one that produced the M flare overnight, sparking a little bit. Notice the brightness feature here, so I don't know if we're done yet with that sunspot. Could pop off another M flare or two. All right, going to jump into some weather conditions out here along the west coast. Here on my phone, I have quite a few weather apps. And believe it or not, here where I'm at, we are under a winter storm watch. And I can't recall the last time, at least here around the Chico area in Northern California, that we've been in a winter storm watch. Now, there's definitely some precipitation coming in here along with some cold air to the Northern California area. We're talking about snow levels down to potentially the northern Sacramento Valley area, including areas around Chico. The Coast Range is getting in on some snow as well. A couple inches of accumulation of snowfall is forecasted for this area. And that's a little crazy because we don't get snow too often down here into the valley of Northern California. It just doesn't happen. But under the right conditions, when we have an extreme cold air mass coming down with precipitation, with moisture, that could set up some snowfall set up here for the Northern California area. I want to show you guys the snowfall predicted. Let me get rid of this right here. There we go. Over the next couple days. Now this system's coming in. The cold air is going to be here Wednesday into Wednesday night, but the precipitation along with the cold air is going to be Thursday night into Friday morning. And this is the snowfall accumulation map here, the ECMWF model. The GFS model shows that as well. So there's an agreement that there is a good chance of seeing some snowfall into the valleys here of the Sacramento Valley. Now the mountains, that's always common here in the wintertime. We get snow levels down to 1,000, 2,000 feet. So these are 8,000 more elevation of mountain ranges here on the coast and the Sierra Nevada. But to see snowfall up here along the Northern California coastline and the Sacramento Valley is a little bit rare. So that's kind of why I'm covering it right now. Around this area of Willows, 4.4 inches of snow forecasted. Over here along the foothills area, could be seeing even more snowfall accumulation with around 7 inches of snowfall. Into the mountain ranges, we're talking about feet of snow, again, which is not uncommon for the Sierra Nevada and the Coast Range here of the mountains. But that's actually still impressive for one storm system. Now, around the Chico area, they're saying roughly about 8 inches of snowfall. This is up against the foothills here. Of course, Paradise could get more as well. And this appears to be the potential line of the cutoff, roughly about, I'd say, Colusa northward. So all of Glenn County, Butte County, Tehama, Shasta County got a good chance of seeing some snowfall Thursday night into Friday morning. Now, this area down here is relatively light. They're showing about 1 inch or less here for Yolo County and Sacramento down there. So I think if anything, we're looking at probably Colusa County northward for the snowfall accumulation. The GFS model paints a little bit heavier of a snowfall picture with Colusa County and even areas down south into Sacramento getting in on the activity. Higher snowfall rates with the GFS model, talking about maybe 6 inches or snow around the Willows area. Goodness. Up around the Chico area, looks like maybe 7 inches or snow. Redding and Anderson, you guys tend to get snow, it seems like maybe once a year or once every other year. But this model is forecasting 15 inches of snow around the Redding area. The ECMWF model showing a little bit less with about 8 inches. But this is definitely something I'm going to probably stay up all night for because we just don't get snow here all that often around the Chico area in this part of the valley. It doesn't happen. Sometimes the colder air gets trapped up here in the northern end of the Sacramento Valley, and that's where the snow accumulation can occur. But we're getting this system coming down out of the northeast. And it's quite impressive. Let me show you guys here the model that's coming down. This is today, Tuesday. It's kind of warm out. A lot of people think I'm crazy talking about snow here in Northern California, because it's almost 60 degrees outside right now here in the Chico area. And they're like, "Wow, it doesn't feel like it's going to snow. It's been rather warm. We had highs in the 70s the past couple days." Well, things can change in the blink of an eye. We got a deep low pressure trough developing, and that will be pretty much centered over Northern California come Thursday night and Friday morning. Look at that extremely cold air coming in, and we're talking about departures away from the normal temperatures here in the purple and the pink area. Entire west coast is going to be a little chilly. So the setup is designed here to bring some low elevation snow, and we'll continue to watch this and see how the timing plays out. There's definitely moisture that is coming in with that colder air, so I'm kind of excited. I definitely want to see some snowfall out here in the valley. I think it'd be really cool. Alrighty, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna jump off here and get the day started. Kind of a busy day, somewhat with school work today, but that's all right. We'll get it done, and we'll continue to watch this system coming in to the west coast come Thursday. In the meantime, folks, have a beautiful day, Tuesday. Weekend is right around the corner. I know I shouldn't be saying that yet, right? Maybe after Wednesday, then we can state that. But right now, Tuesday, got a couple more days before the weekend kicks in. We'll catch you guys a little bit later tonight. Have a good one. Stay safe out there.